It is take 2 for the Ashton Daniels experiment at quarterback. Is it going to work this time versus Vanderbilt?
Midweek report coming at you live, courtesy of our friends at the Rage Room. If you're in the Opelika area and you're looking to get some rage out, if the Hugh Freeze era made you so mad that you got to break something, the Rage Room is the place for you to be. 1510 Second Ave if you're in Opelika, 2616 7th Ave South if you're in Birmingham. Our friends at the Rage Room bust up some car seats, break some windshields, swing some bats. It's a fun time. They even got like a paint splash room, Ike, and you can throw axes as well too. Jump on a car. They got it all over there at the Rage Room. I promise you, it's a really unique, fun time. Also great for team building. Visit them. Let them know that the War Report sent you. When you get to the counter, they'll take care of you. Sign up as a member, guys. Patron only this Saturday. So if you're joining our live stream, our game day live stream, Ike Jones is going to be live from Nashville as Auburn takes on number 15 Vandy on the road. My guy Ike has gone to every single road game this year for y'all. He has braved Texas twice, right? Yeah, twice. He's gone to Texas twice. Yeah. He's gone to Arkansas, which is a really terrible place. Hopefully next year we can send him to Florida or someplace cool. But look, Nashville is always a good time. He'll be there covering for us live. So we're looking forward to bringing him in every moment of the DJ Durkin era of football here that starts at Vandy. $5.99 a month, guys. Help keep him on the road. We appreciate you guys for helping us out. You can also give the gift of the War Report by hitting that gifted membership button. Help somebody else become a member. Check your email because YouTube selects these at random. So if you are a black name in the chat and not a green name, you're likely to be on the receiving end of one of these. Lots of you have told me you've gotten these memberships. We appreciate our community for helping us grow our community. I want to thank our friends at Abel's Iannone Moore and Associates. Ike, we love Abel's Iannone Moore and Associates because you don't need a big balance to get big advice. At Abel's Iannone Moore and Associates, there's no minimum to start your initial portfolio review. It's complimentary. Whether you're just starting to invest, a do-it-yourself investor, or in the final stages of planning for retirement, AIMA's fiduciary advisors will meet you where you are. No sales pitch, no pressure, just honest guidance. Call AIMA at 912-777-4128. Scan the QR code on your screen or visit AIMC.com. It costs nothing to talk, and it could change everything. The War Report has been compensated by Abel's Iannone Moore and Associates for this endorsement. Abel's Iannone Moore and Associates is a SEC registered investment advisor. Registration as an investment advisor does not imply a certain level of skill or training. Guys, check us out on podcasts, all the podcast platforms. We are there bringing you lots of great audio only content. The Auburn Express Uptempo College Loop, Just a Sec, and the War Report Gaming Channel. We are blowing up the podcast charts right now, and that's all thanks to you guys. Download, subscribe, leave us a review. It helps us a ton over there. We appreciate you for doing that. Last but certainly not least, check out all our written work at thewarreport.com as well as our merch store. Been seeing some orders come in. You guys are buying up some War Report gear. We appreciate that. Sport that stuff to the game. We got 2 more home games, including the Iron Bowl. You can have your War Report gear on if Auburn does something epic this Iron Bowl. We want you to be in some Born to Bug t-shirts. So head on over to warreport.com to cop your gear today. That's it for our announcements. Let's start the show.
All right. Well, Nashville is the site of the beginning of the interim era of DJ Durkin as the head coach for Auburn. And, you know, listen, haven't had a chance to speak on our platform about this, but I have talked about this a bit. I liked what I had to hear from DJ Durkin in his first press conference addressing the media. He definitely said things that made you believe things will be different, starting with one play caller, made it super clear. Derrick Nicks, not all of this. This person's calling. He's like, I don't know about any of that. Derrick Nicks is calling plays. Let's kill all of the suspicions. You've talked about this already, but what kind of things do you think you expect to see in a Derrick Nicks offense? Like, do we have any idea what that's going to be?
The crazy part is the answer to this question is I don't know.
Right.
That's how chaotic things were offensively here. I don't know what a Derrick Nicks offense is. So I think we'll find out whether Freeze was the problem or not pretty quickly. Can you imagine, Ike? Follow me to La La Land for a second. Can you imagine if Auburn drops like 40 on Vandy or something crazy?
Yeah,
like
if they
that?
go crazy. Listen, we've talked about this. If they score 3 touchdowns in this game.
yeah. So the 28 would be amazing.
I mean, 5 scoring drives and 3 of them being touchdowns would be like phenomenal for this Auburn offense, how it's been in the SEC so far this year. And that would be against a Vanderbilt defense that has looked good some Saturdays, and some Saturdays they've given up points. So it's not as if they have definitely shut down a bunch of teams, but still, Auburn hasn't exactly lit it up against the worst teams in the conference. If by some change of mechanism, Auburn is able to go out here and put up points against a very respectable Vanderbilt defense, then Matty Freeze, you can just stop.
Oh my God.
Just forever.
What a mess. What a mess. I will tell you this. It has been it's been interesting, right? Like that we are in a place where it has people are talking, right? Like people are talking, and I hate when they do this. Like, you know, Bo's folks kind of did this when he went out, and it was the whole "we're so persecuted" thing is played. You're not persecuted. You know, he got generational wealth to do a job. Like he made like 186 times the normal person's income for a year, like lifetime in a year.
Right.
It's you know, and I'm not saying it doesn't suck to lose your job. It sucks to lose your job. You know, it's the business, and it was warranted. Right. I think the thing that got me the most about that statement was the whole "we were promised 4 years."
Right.
Girl, sit down.
Yeah.
please sit down with that. Like we were promised a decent offense too. And I think Cohen said it all on Monday, Ike, when he said, if we had even an average offense, I wouldn't be standing in front of you right now.
Correct.
That was the most poignant statement he made on Monday. I thought he won the press conference. He said a lot. He very gangster-like said, "I am the committee. Yeah. I am your manager." Right. And
look at me. I am the captain.
Right here. Right. So, yeah, the way I'm looking at it, I'm just saying, hey, you know, at the end of the day, we are not where we should be for the level of talent that we have. And if it's an organization thing, then I think we're going to find a little bit out on Saturday. If they could lose this game and it can still look a lot better as well, too. Yeah. So, you know, I like that Cohen said on Monday, he was like, it's not fair to put the results of this offense over the next 3 games on DJ in terms of evaluating him for the job. So it's not fair, right? You can't take a whole year's worth of results and then get mad at him because he can't turn it around in 3 weeks. Right. So I like that he is realistic there, but also the other thing that he said, and I played this clip on the Auburn Express. He said, you know, how you do things matters.
Right.
And, you know, my dad used to say, how you do some things is how you do everything. And that's all we've heard about this man since he stepped on the plains, is he is detail oriented. He's meticulous. The offensive guys say this about him, just watching him coach his guys.
Right.
Player after player, Ike said, offense and defense, like 2 different football teams. You guys have heard us say this since the beginning of the season. And if he has a chance to bring that same like process over to the offense, it could make a big difference on Saturday. Or maybe, you know, it's too far gone. We'll see. But either way, I think just making this move injects some hope into this situation and the fan base. And I'm looking forward to seeing what it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a different level of excitement going into this one that would not have been there, if we're being honest, if Coach Freeze was patrolling the sidelines this weekend. And, you know, to be clear, like you've already stated, this had to happen, right? Like, despite the promise of 4 years, like this is how contracts work, right? Like you're being paid to go away. It's not like they just said you're getting nothing and you have to leave, right? Like, okay, you were promised 4 years, we gave you 3. We'll compensate you for not giving you that additional year that you thought you were going to have. That's how this works. But on the other hand, if I paid you to build my house and you told me it was going to take 4 years, and at the pace it's going, it's looking like it's going to take you 11. No, you're not going to continue to have this contract. I'm going to give this contract to somebody else. Thank you so much for building the foundation, which is what Coach Freeze did, built a solid foundation. But man, we should be seeing a roof on this house anytime now.
Absolutely.
It needs to be habitable at some time. Like, are we just going to have a foundation and nothing else? I can't live in that house.
That's facts.
And we're trying to build a championship house, and you're trying to move people in, and we ain't even passed inspection yet. So at some point in time, you have to be making progress towards the goal. And it was very clear what the goals were from the beginning. And at some point in time, if you are John Cohen, you have to say to yourself, this isn't moving in the direction that it's supposed to be. And the only portion of this that's making any sense, you have no control over. Facts. I need to get somebody else in here to run this.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Look, John Cohen, I am the committee Cohen, is going to go out and find a coach here, Ike. And I think it's an exciting time for Auburn fans here. You've got 2 top 15 matchups. One will potentially be top 5 versus Bama come Iron Bowl week. And if we can get this going over the next 3 weeks, you can set the stage for what should be a really good 2026. Now, Peter Burns actually came out and said Auburn is the top job open. Peter Burns from ESPN called Auburn the top job open. He said, I'm not buying all this stuff that people are saying about Auburn being a bad job.
Oh, so you have you heard this foolery that's out here in the media about how the Auburn job is so unattractive to people? Now, listen, I understand if you feel as if what has turned some coaches off in previous coaching searches has been the perceived, and I think that's why John Cohen tried to get ahead of that narrative, is the perceived meddling of the powers that be. The whole, I think it was Brent Venables talking about, well, who would I be reporting to thing that he said when he was a part of the coaching search before. John Cohen's like, listen, scrap all of that. Forget what you heard. It's me. You report to me. I'm the person you have to answer to. He tried to get out in front of that, I think, be very proactive with that messaging at the beginning of this search to make it clear to anyone that the only person that needs to rubber stamp this contract is me. And the everything else is going to be negotiating on price, because I can't just sign that check. But if you're my guy, you're my guy. And we just got to figure out, does the price match? But like just this rhetoric that now all of a sudden, amidst some very big names, like let's not be crazy and say Florida's not a huge job. And let's not be crazy and say that LSU is not a huge job. But outside of that, Penn State is probably an equivalent job, but maybe because of recency, a better program in recent years. But like, are we really trying to sit here and say Virginia Tech's a better job than Auburn?
Yeah, look,
Arkansas is a better job than what are we saying?
The job is about opportunity, right? Resources and conference affiliation.
Correct.
That's it.
And Auburn has checks the box on all 3 of those.
Yeah, right. You're in the best conference in college football. We've seen it under Freeze, and I think again that's what was so maddening about the whole Auburn didn't love us back thing that his family's trying to sell.
I've been more resources within my soul not to like absolutely go crazy about those videos. I've been trying so hard.
Yeah, look, it was. He was given more resources than any Auburn coach has ever had to go out and do the job. So when we talked about the alignment or whatever, it was about, hey, we think you're the guy, so we're going to give you all the money you need to go do this. And he picked his quarterback. Now, look, I'll say this. I think this is telling. And I tweeted out that Auburn needs to find a way to keep Kenyatta Watson and Will Redmond around. Now, if you don't know what Redmond is,
they should be what one would call head coach agnostic, right? Like just the way that the SID staff is, where it's like, hey, if you come to Auburn, you're working with Kirk Sampson. Like, let's just be clear. He's going to be your guy until he decides he's not going to be your guy. The recruiting staff has been phenomenal for Auburn. Keep those guys together.
Yeah, look, when I tweeted that, you know who retweeted me? I turned on my Twitter and Deuce Knight retweeted me. Then I get back on Twitter and Takeo Spikes retweeted me. These guys know, right? They know that, you know, the engine behind recruiting wasn't all about Hugh Freeze. It was about, again, the resources, the money, and these guys who work in player personnel and recruiting that are driving recruits here. Look, man, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. This isn't any inside source, or this is my personal opinion. I think if Kenyatta Watson walks out the door, a lot of players are walking with him. I think whatever
his ties to those players in the Atlanta area are strong.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like if he went to like Notre Dame or something, you would see a bunch of players jump with him to Notre Dame. So these relationships matter. You know, when Cam Coleman was being recruited, the key to his recruitment to Texas A&M was Damian Craig. And because they weren't retaining Craig, they had no chance of keeping Cam Coleman in the fold. So Auburn came and swooped in, and he got to stay close to home and play in the SEC still and get everything else he wanted. The money was there. It was, you know, it was just, hey, look, my guy's not there anymore, so I'm not there. It didn't have anything to do with Jimbo Fisher. For real. Damian was the key to Cam Coleman. So, you know, you have these guys. I'm not saying that Freeze wasn't a good recruiter, but I'm telling you, like, it wasn't all on him. He had a lot of support, and those guys are still here right now. So the Auburn has a chance to hold this together. If you're John Cohen, I think you're in a pretty good position as far as the head coach is concerned. I spoke with Caesar. I spoke with Kyle Rush from the Barn. And I spoke with Taylor Davis. Jacob Goins is going up tomorrow. We've been taking a poll of all the people who come on our show about who they want. Taylor Davis is a big John Summerall guy.
I did hear her making her. She was stumping for Summerall for sure.
Yeah. You know who she's not a fan of is Eli Drinkwitz.
Eli Drinkwitz. Yeah, she was not very much on the Drinkwitz.
Wasn't on the Drinkwitz train. Yeah. And you go watch the segment if you want to hear her words. But, you know, didn't think he'd be a good fit here. Didn't think fans like him. But there are some good candidates out there. I just hope Auburn doesn't overthink this. If DJ Durkin somehow wins the next 3, I don't know how you don't hire him.
Yeah, well, let's talk coaching search in the second half of this. Let's focus in on this matchup that we got coming up this weekend. And I definitely want to get back to the coach conversation because I think it's important that we dive into that. But coming up this weekend, Auburn is playing those guys up in Vandy in Nashville. The odds makers favor Vanderbilt, of course. 45.5 points is the over-under. They're not expecting a lot of offense. Is this indicative of the 3 points that Auburn just scored versus Kentucky? Maybe so. ESPN 70.9% chance that Vandy takes the win here. This series is tied 22-1. And the last win, of course, coming last year where Auburn managed to get one score again, this time a touchdown, 17-7 inside of Jordan-Hare Stadium. Mike, they made the announcement, well, not they, but DJ Durkin made the announcement today during the SEC teleconference. He is going with Ashton Daniels as his starting quarterback.
Not shocking.
And like, what are you giving Auburn's chances here versus Vanderbilt? Like, there's so many unknowns. I don't know that we can say a lot about this game, but what are you giving their chances? Because here's the thing. The defense is still going to show up.
Same chance I've given them in every game this year. They could have won every single game this year. So I'm giving them a chance to win. Because we're, week 10? 9, 10? And they still haven't given up more than 24 points to any opponent this year. Like, only 2 other teams in the country can say that. Ohio State and Indiana, and they're ranked 1 and 2 right now. That's it. Yeah. Come on, man. Those 2 teams are practically a lock to make the college football playoff. That's how bad this offense has been. Auburn has a championship defense. I went on that SEC podcast with my guy, Mike Brayton, SEC Mike on Twitter. And he said it. He said, Auburn has a championship defense, Mike. Yeah. He's one of Hugh Freeze's biggest critics. Didn't like him. And he thinks with the right hire, Auburn will be in the playoff next year. He didn't think it had to be a rebuild. I'm with him. If you hold the roster together and you get the right coaching pieces in place and you find a quarterback, you're right back in the discussion where they should have been this year. All the pieces were there. So, yes, I'm giving them a chance. I want to remind people, Ike, of what this game truly was last year. Because all this talk about Diego Pavia and him being the Hugh Freeze Slayer and beating Auburn, and, I saw a story where Tommy Tuberville had urged Hugh Freeze to give Diego Pavia a look. And, Tuberville is a guy I really respect when it comes to having an eye for talent. Like, again, I told you I worked on that staff on the video staff, under that regime. And man, they had it going on in terms of identifying talent. Last year, this game was 17-7. That's all Vanderbilt mustered last year was 17 points. So there you are, right? Not giving up more than 20 points to anybody. Diego Pavia, I will remind people, was 9 of 22 passing for 143 yards. The difference in the game was when they absolutely had to have a play, he made it. That's it. I mean, that was the difference in the game. He threw 2 touchdowns. Peyton Thorne, I would argue, was the better quarterback in this game. He was 20 for 29 for 239 yards in a TD. Diego, but what about Diego's legs? What about Diego running? 12 rushes for 26 yards, 2.2 yards per rush. That's it. He didn't have more than 200 yards of offense in this game last year.
Right.
So it's not like he went bonkers wild on Auburn. That game was about Auburn's inability to score points, as this game will be or won't be. So,
I mean, that's literally been the story of every single loss this year is Auburn just hasn't put up enough because the defense, as we have said repeatedly, nobody more than 24 points. Not a single team. The highest scoring offenses that Auburn has. I mean, these offenses are putting up major points against everybody else. Auburn, no. You crossing 24, you is not happening so far.
The offense went 2 of 13 on third down last year in this game. 2 of 13. They converted 2 third downs the entire game. Now, you might think, okay, well, what did Vanderbilt do? They only went 4 of 16 on third down. This was a mess. Auburn actually outgained them in total yards, 327 to 227. And they lost. They only mustered a touchdown. I've been asked all week, yesterday, it's probably why I feel so shitty today, is because I did like 12 segments yesterday talking about Hugh Freeze. Everybody wanted, how will Hugh Freeze be remembered? I said 2 things: inability to develop a quarterback, and his offense just didn't score points.
I think you'll be. You can adding some real talent to Auburn as a third thing, but I think. But there's definitely the problem. To your point, is you came in talking about how you were going to turn the program around, and from a talent perspective, mission accomplished. Right? You can say you did that, but it wasn't all on him. But if he's going to take credit for all of the bad things that happened, you got to give him the credit for the good things that happened during that time too. Now, what I will not give him credit for is how the defense performed. Helping to bring the talent in, sure. You can have I give that same credit to Gus Malzahn when he comes up in these conversations. Okay. Yes, you had high recruiting classes and you had some defensive personnel that went on to be in the NFL. All those things, feather in your cap, absolutely. You get 0 points for how that defense performed because you did not help that defense perform in that way one bit. You didn't game plan it. You didn't go out there and call plays for it. You were in charge of a putrid offense. And so you get 0 points for how that offense performed. And you're actually going to take a big ding for potentially ruining what the future of that offensive recruiting could be because of how poorly the offense performed. Like, you almost ran all the talent out of town that you brought in because of how bad the offense was performing.
Yeah, look, again, offense. This is it. Again, I will repeat for those just joining the broadcast here. I see our Twitter families coming in. If you did not hear the press conference on Monday, Cohen said, if we even had an average offense, I wouldn't be standing in front of you right now.
Right.
An average offense. And with an average offense, Auburn might be undefeated or a one-loss team right now. That's it. I mean, that's what I think he'll be remembered for here. Just an inability to be able to pick a quarterback and score points on offense. If he could have done that at an average level like he did at other programs, he would be one of the most beloved coaches in Auburn history by this point. I'm telling you. And that's what I think the other freezes miss.
Correct.
Is that, like, hey, yes, Auburn, what I hated about, what was being said was it was really out of touch with all the folks who, came to our comment section, Ike, and said, I finally could afford to get my family to a game and Auburn is losing. We finally could afford season tickets and my son hasn't seen a win at home yet in conference. It's really, really sad. It is a sad state of affairs at Auburn right now. So DJ Durkin, I think, has a great opportunity here. I think Cohen was very fair to him on Monday by saying, look, we're going to evaluate him fairly. We're going to give him a look. A lot of people, this is something that I think that when you talk about whether Durkin would work under another coach, if they brought in another coach, Jake Goins, I talked about this. I think it would be difficult maybe if you wanted the job and you got passed over for it to stay and work under the guy they did hire. I know Cadillac did that, but that was a kind of a different situation to me as a homegrown Auburn guy. And I know he did that when Freeze did because he technically interviewed for the job. I don't know if Durkin would do that. I don't know if he's made that way. He was one of the most sought after coordinators this offseason. Ohio State wanted him. We had to break the bank to keep him. So look, if he can do so, if he can show anything here, if he can show a process, I think you give him a serious look because the players should have a say in this. The players that you hope to keep because you broke the bank to get them here, they should have a say. You broke the bank to put this roster together. And then you have Cohen himself stressed roster retention when talking about recruiting. He said, look, man, we spent all our money just keeping this roster together. So yeah, if they say, if you hire this guy, we'll stay, why wouldn't you do that? Especially when he's a known commodity. We're not talking about, hey, John, go out and get this dude from this other program. No, you know him. He's family already. So, if you're DJ, you just have to show some improvement, I think, to get a really serious look here. And I think you and I were talking about when he was the head coach at Maryland, like all the things that like actually went wrong there, like all his quarterbacks like got hurt, and people point to his 11. It wasn't me and you. I think I was talking with somebody about this, right? Like his 11-15 record was marred with a lot of weird injuries, where he lost a lot of people. So, I think here there'll be a lot more structure and support. And man, I got a chance to talk to him briefly before the Kentucky game. He was coming out of the recruiting center. I don't think he knew that I was credentialed media. I introduced myself, just said, hey, coach, appreciate the work that you do. I'm Michael from the War Report. And then in the Monday press conference where I got a chance to answer a question, he smiled because I think he recognized me from before the game and said, oh, it's that guy, right? He carries a presence about him that is it's very commanding, but it's not like super cocky. I don't know.
No, he actually, when he talks, he actually sounds kind of mild-mannered, which is unexpected from what you hear from players about him. Like, I would expect him to come out there and be very like Kirby Smart, like, and just kind of, but nah, he's just kind of, he almost fumbling over his words a little bit. He sounds nervous. I think he's one of those guys where maybe like big stages, he's not really a fan of those, but when he's in his element, he's locked in doing his thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did not expect, I liked what I heard from him, but his voice threw me off at first. I was like, yo, is this gonna be the dude? Yeah. And then when I heard him start actually articulating his ideas, I was like, nah, he's actually, yeah, I think he's kind of just of a savant at what he does.
Yeah, I do too. Look, man, I want him. I ain't gonna lie. Like every day that passes, I kind of want Durkin to be the guy. I can't trip. I kind of want him to be the guy. Now he's got to show something. He's got to kind of earn it over the next 3 games. In fairness, that doesn't mean win the next 3, but Auburn's got to look organized, and it can't look. You know how Auburn looked in the bowl game with Steele as coach after Gus was gone?
Mm-hmm.
That shit was a mess. It looked awful, right? You can't look like that. You can't look like that. But you know, there's a clip that, can I play a clip real quick before we get to the break? There's a clip I want to play that I think says everything about DJ Durkin. So if you haven't seen this on the show, like, you know, you can hear his voice and hear what we heard on Monday.
I think it's important, like in football, you realize this, that it's not always what you do, it's how you do it and who does it. And I think that's a major thing. Like how you do things, how you do anything in life really matters. And you can see a difference in 2 people doing the same exact thing, but there's a difference in how they're doing it. And so that's our first focus. And it with an edge and with relentless effort and a certain sense of physicality.
I love that. Right?
I mean, like low key, it sounded like he was showing a very stark difference between the way he approaches things than Coach Freeze does, right? Like, it's just like, listen, I'm not promising you, you know, we're going to have the same players. I'm just going to go about it in a very different way when we go and approach this game week. And I hope that approach helps them to be better in the execution on Saturdays.
Yeah, look, he, again, carries a certain presence and an intensity about him. And that's, I think, what you saw coming out there. Like you said, he not super comfortable in front of the media, but he's still an intense guy. And he comes off as somebody who cares a lot about what he's doing.
Right.
You know, and I'm not saying that Coach Freeze didn't, but this is a different kind of energy, man, that I think Auburn needs right now. So I am 100% full on DJ Durkin for the next 4 weeks, because we got a bye week in there, I think. And I think Auburn fans should be too. Give this guy a shot. I promise you, give this guy a shot. He is,
listen, if nothing else, just support him through the remainder of this season, man. Like, whether you want him to be the coach next year or not should not be relevant as to whether or not he gets support to finish out this season. And those young men on the team get that support as well.
Yeah, that's a fact. So, you know, beside Durkin, again, on the other side, all eyes are going to be on Derrick Nicks. And
for sure,
there was someone running around our comment section like, why aren't you calling for Derrick Nicks to be fired? Well, you know what? Over the next 3 weeks, you might get your wish.
This will be the time where Derrick Nicks is squarely in
yes, right.
Listen, and honestly, for me, it doesn't matter that he hasn't called, because he's been in the room. He knows the personnel. He knows what the offensive play sheet looks like. So how he lines up the game plan and the play calls, it shouldn't be like he's never been a play caller before. Okay, I'll give you a mulligan in the first game if it doesn't look great. But you go out there versus Mercer and it's looking clumsy, then we got to have a conversation, bro. Like, maybe this ain't for you. You need to go maybe coordinate at a smaller school first and then get back up here to the big leagues, because with the talent you have, you should be able to out scheme Mercer, right? So, yeah, this is the time where you're in the view of the public. Now you get the criticism for what's happening, because before this wasn't in your hands.
Yeah, you know what? We've talked a lot about all the different takes on Auburn. I have to say, my dum-dum of the week goes to Joel Klatt.
Oh yeah, he ran. He jumped all the way out the window.
He went on the next round and said some of the dumbest shit I've heard all year. Like, you know, talking about Auburn not even being the second best team in the state and all this stuff. And I'm telling you, the stuff he was saying was a wild thing to say about a program that's actually won a championship in our lifetime, right? And been to multiple championships and produced Heismans and had multiple undefeated seasons,
right,
through college football. 2004, 2010, 2013, all legendary seasons. You know, honorable mention to 2010, beating Georgia and Alabama in the same season. I mean, 2017. Come on, man. Like,
yeah, I literally don't know what Clapp was talking about, and I feel I want to feel confident that he just said it for the reaction and he doesn't actually believe the things that he said, because not a single word of it made sense.
Yeah.
Not in the combination that you put those words together, because I get it. Yes, Auburn exists in the same state that Alabama does, and Alabama has the more prestigious program. Does that mean that now all of a sudden Auburn should just accept the fact that Coach Freeze hasn't won more than 6 games in a season in 3 years?
Yeah,
We should just accept that and just deal with it.
Yeah, like
no, that doesn't mean your standard lowers just because somebody next to you has a high standard as well.
Somehow expecting championships is unreasonable at Auburn, but reasonable at Bama. And I think that Joel forgot Bama having 5 coaches in like 3 years. That stretch.
No, I mean that doesn't count. That only counts when Auburn does it. It doesn't count.
And we're not going to sit here and pretend like this wasn't about them lucking into a generational coach. They lucked into a generational coach.
Everybody who gets a really good coach, 9 times out of 10, there's a little bit of luck involved in that. But they had more than just a little bit of luck, because the guy they actually wanted to hire turned him down.
Rich Rodriguez.
Yes. So it wasn't even like he was the first choice and they were like, yeah, he said, it's like, no, he wasn't even the guy you was looking at.
Yeah. You lucked into a generational coach, and he made Bama what it is today. And if you're Auburn, you're just looking for that next coach. Now, you know, here's the thing. The other thing, again, kind of going back before we get to the break about what the freeze is, the whole we were promised 4 years thing. I think that patience in college football is such an interesting topic.
Right. I mean, it is because it's not there's not like a singular standard for patience. Like, your patience is kind of relative to your resources, and it's relative to the expectations of the program, right? Like, Kentucky has had Mark Stoops there. He is the longest tenured coach in the SEC right now, and won a sum total of nothing.
Yeah.
I get it. They just beat Auburn last week. So all you Kentucky fans that are on here about to get mad because I said that, it's a fact. Stop talking.
I want to take.
They have more patience. They have more patience for that process.
Yeah, I know this was a long time ago, but I want to take you back to the beginning of the Tuberville era, which was 1999. This was, I think, your freshman year at Auburn. 99.
Yes,
99. You were my sister, and I was 2001, so I came 2 years after you. But they went 5-6 that year. The next year, they went 9-4. They went to the Citrus Bowl, and they were in the SEC championship game versus Florida. 2001, which was my freshman year, they went 7-5. This was Jason Campbell's freshman year, and Jason came in with me. He was the Gatorade Player of the Year, one of the highest rated quarterbacks in Auburn history coming in. The following year, 2002, this was a Bobby Petrino offense, 9-4. Petrino takes off to, I think, Texas A&M after Auburn, and no,
he was at
I'm thinking about Francione later, but he stayed until 2003, I think, and then took off. That's right. So that was a Bobby Petrino offense that year, 9-4. 2003, Jetgate. This was the Nalsminger offense. It was terrible. So yeah, Petrino did leave after 2002 to go to Louisville. And then in 2003, we had the Nalsminger offense that went 8-5, and they fired up to Jet to get rid of Tuberville. So by year 5, they were ready to get rid of Tuberville. And he had 2 9-win seasons out of 4. He turned in an 8-win season, but he beat Alabama in that Iron Bowl, and then God bless the reporter, the investigative journalism. A reporter broke the story, caught them on a plane, trying to fly to a different state and drive to go talk to Petrino to get him to come back. And our AD and president got fired over this. So Jetgate blew it up. They had to keep Tuberville, and then 13-0 the next year. So 99, 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, it was year 6 he went undefeated. I remember in the athletic department that year, there was the big talk was which one's going to go pro, Ronnie or Cadillac. And when they both decided to come back, they brought in Al Borges, and Borges sold them a plan that he said, this can work. There's enough ball to go around. And both of those guys bought into that. And not only did it work out for them because they went 2-5 in the draft that year.
Right.
Ronnie was technically the backup and he got drafted first.
Right.
That set of receivers, I mean, we have really good receivers now, but I will say, in terms of accomplishments, Ben Obomanu, Devin Aroma should do, Anthony Mix, Courtney Taylor, probably the best quad of receivers that we've had here at Auburn in terms of what they actually accomplished. These guys have a chance to do better than that, certainly, the next couple of years. But, man, those guys were good. And there wasn't a lot of ball to go around because you had top 5 running backs, top 5 NFL running backs. So what is patience really? Do you give a guy 4 or 5 years? I mean, with the portal being what it is, here's what Tuberville and those guys did. They may not have had the portal, but they used to raid the JUCO ranks for really, really good players.
Yeah.
So those players that couldn't jump straight from P4 school or P5 school to P5 school, they went JUCO and then came back. And you had to have good scouting to go to the JUCO level and find players. Auburn did that a lot back then. We got some really good JUCO players. So what is patience? Is it realistic that a coach could get 6 years? I think so, because let me bring you back to the Freeze era. If he had even one 9-win season in the first 3, he'd still be the coach here.
Yes, facts.
One 9-win season. Tuberville had 2 of them, and they tried to fire him. So don't talk to me about patience, and we were promised 4 years. Better coaches have we're almost ousted for doing better. He got 8 years, and look, all those people that wanted Tuberville out, they didn't stop wanting him out after Jetgate blew up.
No,
they just had to wait
for
till 2000. Yeah, they just wait till 2008 to get him out. And what did he do after 2004? 9-3 in 2005, 11-2, 9-4 in 2007. He had one losing season and they fired him. 5-7 in 2008 and they fired him. Are you kidding me? Hear me out again, Ike. Since from 2002 to 2007 was the winningest stretch of all in Auburn football history. They went 9 wins, 8 wins, 13 wins, 9 wins, 11 wins, and 9 wins. You killed for that now. That was better than anything Gus did. Captain 8 wins. They did better than 9 wins 4 times in 5 years.
Yeah, listen, man, Gus had his fair share of a success at Auburn. The problem with Gus Malzahn, again, ultimately was it felt as if there was a ceiling on how far he was going to be able to take the team. And again, similarly to Coach Freeze, you're an offensive guy, and the offense is not what's winning most of these games. Yeah. And so, yes, your record may look good, but if we had an offense that was competent and actually playing complementary to this defense, we'd have more than these 8 and 9 win seasons on our hands.
Tuberville took Brandon Cox and won 11 games and went 11-2. Now, and I'm not saying Brandon Cox, he was a good quarterback, but was he a world next level athlete? No, he wasn't. He took a decent quarterback and won 11 games. So you're telling me in 3 years at Auburn, we haven't had one decent quarterback on the roster? No, you've been making them look terrible for 3 years. I will die on this hill. Peyton Thorne was a decent quarterback.
Yeah, he was decent.
He was a decent quarterback. And you could have won 8 or 9 games with him. You could have won 8 or 9 games with him. Jackson Arnold, I think, is a decent quarterback. And you could have won more games than you won with him. Ashton Daniels, I think, is a decent quarterback. And I think you can win with. I think you can win with these guys. Now, I'm not saying Auburn could be able to win championships necessarily, but this certainly is a championship level defense. Maybe if Georgia could win a championship the way Stetson Bennett played in their first run, why not Auburn with this defense?
Yeah, like I said, again, you play at least. Well, I won't say. I'll say what John Cohen said. Just be just be passable, right? Like do what you can do on offense, and you definitely get to a different place in what was happening with this year. If it was just okay, you'd have more wins this year. And that's all anybody was really asking for. And I think it's difficult to feel sympathy when it's like the bar was so low.
Yeah.
It's like, just be decent and you can continue to do this. And you go out there in the next test that you have after the conversation of, can you produce something that looks decent, is 3 points. There's no way. There's literally no way.
Yeah. Look, again, statement of the press conference. If we had even an average offense, I wouldn't be standing in front of you having this conversation right now. That's what John Cohen said. And, he said a lot of complimentary things about Hugh Freeze in that press conference. But I think that he was pretty clear that the job being done was subpar and not what they were promised when he took the job and what they expected when he took the job.
Right.
The process was not what was promised when he took the job. And I think John said that in his tone. And I don't know if you heard it. I reported on this show and on Twitter that Auburn was fighting the buyout. I gave some numbers and some other people came out to try to refute my report. And he all but substantiated it on Monday when asked if Auburn was paying the buyout. He said, we're in talks with, I quote, we're in talks with Hugh Freeze's people. Those talks aren't done and they are not close to done and won't be for a while. There's no reason not to pay the buyout unless you feel like you have cause to not pay it.
Yeah.
So I'll take you back to what I said earlier this season and even in the last season when I said if there was ever a time when Hugh Freeze was not the coach here, there's a story to tell about this coach and how he did things. And, and I think that some of those things made it to John Cohen's desk finally. And the results caused him to not be able to write them off or ignore those things. I'm telling you, but there are things that are fixable if you get a guy in there with a different process and attitude. That's why I think DJ Durkin can make a difference in these last 3 games. That's it, right? Like some of the infighting about how to do things on offense, about who starts. And, there was no controversy about quarterback this week. No question. Everyone was aligned. You removed Freeze from the situation and everyone was aligned on what direction to go. On Monday, it was clear Ashton was starting. None of this, we'll see how they look this week and all this stuff. No, they were all on the same page about where to go. So I wonder how everyone now being on the same page might affect how this thing looks on Saturdays. It may or may not make a difference, but, I think it has a chance to make a difference.
Yeah, I think if you prepare differently, you'll get different results, and we will see what that preparation looks like for this team coming up this week as they head into Nashville to take on Vanderbilt, 3 p.m. on the SEC Network. We will see what happens. We're going to get to a break. We're going to get to your comments because there's a lot of those coming in here. We appreciate everybody who has jumped in here live. If you're not already doing so, go ahead and like this video. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that. Whether you're out there on Facebook and you're, subscribing to the Facebook page, you're joining us on Twitter, you can follow us out there. If you're right here on YouTube, make sure you're subscribing there. We'll be right back with more of the Midweek Report. You are watching us right here live on the War Report.
This edition of the War Report is brought to you by our generous sponsors. Golden's Cast Iron. Whether you work out, grill out, or chill out, you deserve the best life possible, and Golden's Cast Iron is here to provide the tools to help you do it. Check them out at goldenscastiron.com.
The Rage Room. The Rage Room is a place where anger and stress find their ultimate release. Set up a session today at one of the 2 great locations in Opelika or Birmingham by visiting opelika-rageroom.com or birmingham-rageroom.com.
Sign up as a patron. $5.99 a month will get you there. Our Green Name Gang is growing. If you are not part of the Green Name Gang, you're missing out on game days, guys. Pre-game, halftime, post-game, we're bringing you all the coverage. Ike will be live from Nashville up in the booth. He's made multiple trips to Nashville over the years for you guys. He's doing it again this year. You can help keep him on the road by signing up as a patron. We appreciate our Green Name Gang for helping us grow our community. You can also do that by hitting that gifted membership button. Give the gift of the war report, smash that gifted membership button. And then, guys, if you got a black name in the chat, check your email. You could be on the receiving end of one of these memberships. You get chat privileges. We're doing film reviews that we put those behind the paywall because of monetization reasons with film. It's crazy stuff, but become a member so it's not an issue for you. We appreciate you guys for helping us grow our community. I want to thank our sponsors, Abel's Iannone Moore and Associates. If you're a small business owner, you have a lot on your plate. Growing a business, taking care of employees, and usually what suffers the most are your personal assets. At Abel's Iannone Moore and Associates, their fiduciary advisors are a resource for business owners to make sure their personal assets are getting the same required attention that they give their business every day. Call AIMA at 912-777-4128. Scan the QR code on your screen or visit AIMAINC.com to schedule your initial consultation. The War Report has been compensated by Abel's Iannone Moore and Associates for this endorsement. Abel's Iannone Moore and Associates is a SEC registered investment advisor. Registration as an investment advisor does not imply a certain level of skill or training. This episode of the War Report is brought to you by our friends at Sky Tobacco and Vape. Ever run out of vape juice and realize you're nowhere near your favorite spot? Not a problem. Sky Tobacco and Vape. Scott locations sprinkled all over Columbus and even across the bridge in Phenix City. Like they planned it that way just for you. Whether you're on the move or just vibing, they've got everything you need. Vapes, tobacco, and deals so good, you'll make a double take. Sky Tobacco and Vape, good vibes, great deals, and probably just right around the corner from where you're at. I want to thank our friends at the Vibe Vault. You can find them at 3462 Crosswinds Road, Suite E in Phenix City, Alabama. If you're in the Columbus, Phenix City area and you're looking to get fresh for the weekend, the Vibe Vault is the place for you. My guy Steve Watkins serving up fresh cuts for the community. I am way overdue to go see him to get this beard cleaned up. Ike's got the beard going on. They do beard maintenance like no other. The Vibe Vault, not just barbers, lifestyle consultants. You can find them on Highway 431, right across the street from Chattahoochee Valley Community College, next to the Renfro Supermarket and the Marco's Pizza. The Vibe Vault, we appreciate them for sponsoring the segment. Last but certainly not least, I want to thank our friends at setsforsociety.ai. The road to knowing self starts at Sets for Society. They've got custom personality assessments that let you know a little bit more about how you think, how those around you think, and how you guys can best think together to achieve like goals. Setsforsociety.ai. Visit them today to get your custom personality assessment started. We've done these assessments here at the War Report, and they nailed it. All our quirks, strengths, weaknesses. Definitely helps us work better together as business partners and teammates. I encourage you guys to do this. Just fill out the form. They'll reach out and do the rest. Setsforsociety.ai. Get to know yourself today. You're muted. You're muted.
Just my bad. I said, yeah, we'll get in here and we'll get to know all of these folks who have left comments, starting with the super chat people, starting with JJ Brand, who said, Durkin knows that when uncertainty is present, experience is golden. Yeah, listen, he's done the interim coach thing before, so it's not his first time trying to, on a short week, figure out how to pivot and do something as the interim coach. So we'll see if that experience for him pays off for Auburn. Anthony Long said, love JC's comment about close isn't good enough. JC, I think maybe he
John Cohen.
Okay. John Cohen's comment, close isn't good enough. Okay. Also love Stephen Pearl's comment saying that we're tired of hearing about patience. Some people didn't like the comments from Stephen Pearl about that. Listen, I mean, listen, okay, so let's number one, let's start here.
Let's go.
It was tongue-in-cheek that he was just trying to make an inside joke that Auburn fans would understand. But number two, he's 100% correct. Don't want to hear it. He is in a position where preaching patience isn't really going to work for him. Let's be clear.
He took over
Pearl would have struggled in game one. Yeah, listen, you got turned over the keys to a program that was in a good position. Nobody really wants to hear it. They just want you to go out there and win basketball games, man. So, yeah, he made a comment, and it was people felt like maybe too soon for the joke, but I don't know, man. I think he's right.
I think that saying that says that he's got a good pulse on the feeling of the fan base.
Yes.
And that's important, right? He understands where the fan base is at. He was handed the keys to a Ferrari, man. It's ready to drive. They constructed this basketball roster the way they wanted to, and they were given the resources to go out and do that. And coming in and saying, give us some time to get it together is not going to play very well. And I like that he's putting that pressure on himself. I think you know, the comment that was made on Twitter about, well, you lost at the press conference. No, he won it.
I mean, listen,
that comment.
I don't really. That statement didn't win or lose the press conference, so I think that's a little bit of hyperbole. That is more like
I think he won it
than it is anything else.
Yeah, I think he won it. I think he said. I think after his first win as head coach, where he got taken to overtime, but his team pulled it out, and he said, "This is unacceptable." We got I asked him a question about, where how do you get this team back to playing the championship level defense that we're used to seeing from Auburn? And he acknowledged it. He said, look, man, this isn't it right now. We were, it's so funny. He said, we were blessed to have some of the best interior defenders in the history of the game in Walker Kessler and Janai Brome. And we don't have those guys this year. But that's not an excuse for not playing great championship level defense. We're going to figure it out. Man, I'm a big Stephen Pearl guy, man. Everyone was calling him a Nepo baby and like, oh, well, his daddy got him the job. No, man, I'm not buying that, dude. This is a really good basketball mind. He may be young, and yes, his dad set it up for him. He had to do the work to even be in the position for this to be acceptable. I promise you, John Cohen would not have just done this because Bruce Pearl wanted him to.
I mean, he is the search committee of one. So
yeah, I am the committee, and Stephen Pearl is the coach.
Yeah,
I like this, man. I think that he's going to get it done here, and there may be some ups and downs, but we went through ups and downs with Bruce Pearl too. Getting bounced by Yale in the first round of the tournament. Let's not pretend like it was perfect under Bruce. So Stephen has some margin for error here, and I think that he'll pull it together. I'm going to sit down with him next week, and I can't wait for that sit down, man. We're going to sit down on basketball court and talk some Auburn basketball, and I think fans are going to get a real good sense of who he is going to be as Auburn's head basketball coach.
For sure. JJ Brand, twerking for dirt.
JJ always saying some wild
stuff. You know what, Jay? I would not expect anything less.
You could twerk for dirt. Twerk for dirt.
You by yourself on this one, my boy.
And he threw $2 in there too for the twerk. Twerking for the dollars. All right, I get it.
Golly. All right. Anthony Long, Hugh equals Moses, got him out of bondage, but didn't see them get to the promised land. The next coach will take AU to the promised land. Insert shout here. He was definitely preaching on this one, Anthony. Preaching on
biblical on this.
Yeah. I mean, listen, the Freezes wanted the Auburn fans to find Jesus. Well, Anthony just took us to church. So
isn't that what she said? She said we need to find Jesus.
She did say that. And again,
find Jesus.
The insertion of the religious portion of this is where I took a sharp turn away from Coach Freeze in the press conference. And she just I was like, bro, this ain't about Jesus, man. Stop
inserting God into.
It's about wins and losses. And you lost a lot.
Yeah, that's it. God is if the other side is a Christian, who's God rooting for? Give me a break, man. Chill. Like this ain't about Christ or faith or anything like that. And I'm a believer. I just don't like people inserting their religion into everything.
Relax. Exclusive TV. Whoever the coach may be, let him run his program. By that, I mean, don't put no stipulations on him that if that means he brings in a new staff, that's his choice. Don't say, hey, we're hiring you, but you got to keep this person. I agree with this.
I do, but I do think that you can make suggestions. And here's my thing about Durkin. You bring in another coach. He was everybody wants to hire this guy. So there's no reason not to give him a look unless you just have another direction you want to go with a guy that you worked with. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And if it were me, I just want to work with somebody. If I want to work, if I'm an offensive guy, I definitely want to work with somebody I can be hands off with.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, so now there is something to be said about like a cultural fit too, right? Like if the way in which you do things doesn't fit with how DJ Durkin wants to do things, then just because he's a good coach, because listen, Bobby Petrino is one of the foremost offensive minds in the country. Wouldn't want him on my staff if I was the head coach. Because I feel like at any point in time, he's just ready to snake me.
Well, right. Again, there's an ongoing conversation nationally now about how involved the head coach needs to be in certain things these days.
Right.
Like you need to be more of a CEO type, and you need people that you can delegate to and be hands off with. I think it was Kyle Rush from the Barn that said, show me. Well, a lot of people have said this, but Kyle was the first person I heard bring it up. Like, show me an example of a head coach that is their primary play caller on either side of the ball, and they're winning championships. In today's college football, there are zero examples of that. Those guys have to be bigger picture, and they've got to focus on keeping the whole thing together, and you need people you can delegate to. Lane Kiffin is a formidable offensive mind, but in his time, and they look primed this year to finally break through. But up until this year, man, they have flopped every single year in the games.
He turned the play calling over to Charlie Weiss Jr. too, though. Right?
Oh, he did this year?
Yeah, he got out of the way of the play calling.
There you go.
He's helping to scheme it up, but he's letting Charlie Weiss call it. So
well, there you go. So there are zero examples again of the coach doing it.
I think Sark is the only major coach that's having success that's still doing this right now, right? Like,
but
Lincoln Riley, I think, is still calling his own plays. Sark is still calling his own plays. But there aren't a lot of examples of this. I think Rhett Lashley is still calling his own plays. So that there just aren't any examples of it being successful. And of the names that I just mentioned, zero of them have won a national championship yet. So,
yeah.
Joey did not see what comment was supposed to be along with this, but thank you so much for the super chats. Lawrence in here. Lawrence, I don't know if you missed the portion of the chat that was defending Gus, but you have supporters in your corner here on the Gus bus still. I think he meant Cohen here, said if Auburn had an ace offense, they wouldn't be here. Translation, get him an offense and see what he can do.
He said average offense.
Yeah.
Average.
Yeah. So again, you don't even need much. Just give him something. Some
average.
Help.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of help. Chase Patterson, Durkin sounds nervous to me. Let me know he understands the privilege in front of him. Sounds excited. Oh yeah. I think, listen, I heard timidity in his voice, but some of that again just might be his demeanor in front of the cameras, and also like maybe like a little bit of, I wasn't really prepared to get up here and do this. I'll get up here and talk because you guys want me to, but I don't have no prepared statements. I'm just here to say we're going to win a football game. What are your questions?
Yeah, look, man, he'll do the media because he has to, but this guy just loves football and wants to coach football. And, you have media obligations, and you have to talk to the media and to the fans and to the boosters, and you got to go to Tiger Talk, and you got to do all the things. But, what you heard in his voice was he's ready to get to work. Yeah. He is ready to get to work on this thing, and he's excited about the challenge that's in front of him with Vanderbilt. I think he's ready to solve this puzzle, right? And I like this guy a lot, man. I liked him before, and as the story started to roll in about him, I just became more and more of a fan. Like some players that I'm fairly close to, just the way they talk about certain people, it tells me a lot. You can hear it in their tone. You can hear it in their words and how they use their and how they describe them as people. And I know he's intense, but boy, man, the players have really bought into his mantra and his way of doing things. And if he can just infect the offense and just attitude alone, it could make a difference. I'm telling you, I'm just really, really excited. I think Vanderbilt is such a good test this weekend. I'm glad we don't have a bye week. I'm glad we get to see it right away. Give them 6 days, man, and then bam, let's go see what this thing looks like here. And then they get a bye week, I think, right before Mercer.
I believe that is correct.
Yep.
Yes.
And then you get to reset. So if you can get this one reset, you're on a 2-game winning high and rolling into the Iron Bowl. Oh man, this could be, you're bowl eligible, and you get a chance to F up Bama. That's a great place to be.
Love it. Wardank Eagle says, if the offense plays up to their potential Saturday, should Nicks or Durkin get more credit? If the offense plays up to their potential, then you have to give Durkin credit for the clarity of vision, but Nicks credit for the execution of the game plan. So I don't know about more. I think you have to give more credit to the guy who's actually calling this stuff.
Yeah. I think you give more credit to Nicks because Durkin said Monday, that's not my wheelhouse. I'm not meddling in that.
Yeah.
He is the primary play caller. I'm going to trust these guys to come up with the game plan. And I'm going to tell you guys this. Now that Freeze is out of the equation, there is going to be more alignment on how they do things in there. Meaning the plan they came up with Monday is going to be the plan they execute on Saturday. And I'll leave that there. Right. There's no late week changes and I'm inserting this play here or what if we can do this or that. No, they're going to come up with a plan and they're going to execute it. And I think you're going to see that those guys are on the same page.
Joey jumps back in. I think this is what he meant to send earlier. Durkin head coach Jeremy Pruitt as the DC, Todd Monken as the OC,
Where's
Deuce
Pruitt
as
right
the
now?
quarterback. Say again.
Where's Pruitt right now?
I think he's like an analyst somewhere, but I don't think he currently has a job. C-Dub jumping in here. What up, man?
What up? Mike, did you just say alignment?
Yeah, maybe. I've said probably like 20 times on this show.
See, Caesar jumped in like a it's gonna be a terrible dad joke. I apologize, but I've been a rapper for so long, dad jokes just come to my mind immediately. Caesar jumped in like a shade tree mechanic that just saw a car that he wanted to work on. He's like, did you say alignment? Anthony Long jumps in. If Auburn scores more than 21 points versus Vanderbilt, will JC be questioned as to why the decision took so long? Will John Cohen be questioned as to why the decision took so long?
No.
You guys are asking some really good questions. Let me just say, the chat is clowning right now. These are really good questions.
Yeah, I think that remember what I reported. The wheels on this started turning after Missouri. And there was some back and forth about stepping aside and buyouts and all this stuff. And
here's the thing too. Like, I think Cohen just you have to back your guy, right? Like you hired him and you want to, Maddie, give him 4 years. It's not like nobody was sitting here not wanting him to make it to year. Can we say that, like, if you were on the Coach Hugh Freeze train, and I'm not talking to the people who never wanted him hired and the people who saw year one and as soon as he lost to New Mexico State wanted him out of here. I'm talking about the people who saw the progress in recruiting and believed that he just needed an opportunity. Those people wanted to see Coach Freeze see year 4.
Yeah. Well,
so
after
you had to blow this is my point.
Yeah. After Missouri, there was still a chance that if he won out, that the stage could have been set for a turnaround with some changes in the offseason. And my fear in that was that he was going to be in a position where he was being told what to do in some ways if he had stayed, which is not the situation I want to say.
There's no question about it. They'd have taken play calling away from him and said, you're going to hire an offensive coordinator.
Yeah, and I know what John said on Monday when he said, not one time has anybody ever come to me and said, blah, blah, blah. Okay, right. But we all know.
And you know what? And he might be right. But you know whose office they were in? The president's.
Yeah.
Roberts got visits from people. And then Robert subsequently came to John Cohen and said, hey, okay.
Your first hire at Auburn, you don't want to have to replace your first hire, your football hire, after 3 years. That's an admission of failure. Yeah. So yes, you're going to ride this until you realize I can't continue to ride with this guy. And Kentucky was that moment. It was that moment. So I understand why he stuck it out with him, because this was the hire. Now the pressure is even on Cohen to get this right the second time around, and you don't want to be in that situation. So I understand why he waited. But he had to pull the plug when he did after Kentucky. There was just no coming back.
Yeah. After Kentucky, all hope was lost, right? Yeah. Like you lost it, and the way you lost it as well too.
Yes,
that was the definitive. Okay, like there, I cannot defend this anymore. I think after Missouri, it still would have been a little iffy, but they started thinking about it because of how it looked. And, again, those discussions began. And when Coach Freeze kept coming to the post games or to the Monday saying, I haven't talked to John since 6 days ago, I knew something was happening. I have fairly good communication with John Cohen, and, he didn't take my call for 3 weeks. So I knew something was going on because he's not that kind of guy. He's not the don't call you back kind of dude. He returns phone calls, and he gave me his cell phone number, last year, and is always responsive. But he was in a place where he could not be that responsive, and that tells me that started happening right after Missouri. It tells me something's happening behind the scenes, and every week Freeze put one more bullet in that gun until finally, it was bound to go off. And Kentucky was it. So I don't think
crazy that you're playing Russian roulette with your career and you keep adding bullets to the chamber.
Gun.
How are we doing this, bro? This is not a good idea.
That's literally what he was doing. So, I don't, to answer the question, I don't think it could have been done sooner. I think it happened when it needed to happen so that everybody understood that this needed to happen. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it now. We know it needed to happen. I think if you pulled the plug after Missouri, there would have been some, but what if he had?
And he had a mulligan at that point, too, because people felt like he had been robbed of Oklahoma, robbed of the Georgia game. He had the mulligan going.
Every excuse available to you, and you had the worst defenses on your schedule coming up to make this up. And you failed to see the end zone all but one series. Absolutely. Come on, bro.
Cohen was literally at midfield at the Georgia game arguing with refs. So to Caesar's point, right, like you had games that there was a lot of Auburn power brokers that felt like those games were stolen from Auburn with those calls. And it was substantiated by the SEC because they were suspending people and putting out statements. After Oklahoma, they made the unprecedented step of saying we were wrong and saying that they punished them in the same sentence. Ken Williamson, I think that was the guy for the Georgia. He literally, I think he was going to retire after this season. They retired him early. They just said, you're done. No more. You can't do any more after this. It was so egregious how they officiated that game. So if you had, again, to my point, if you had done it after that set of games, you would have had that feeling that you pulled the plug on him too early. Right. After Kentucky, nobody feels that way. So no, I don't think that I don't think you, in hindsight, you go back and say, oh, what if we had done this earlier?
Yeah, I mean, we can play the hindsight game about every decision that didn't seem as if it was the best decision. You make the best decision with the information available to you at the time. I don't fault him for not making that decision earlier, though I can say for certain that in hindsight, it looks like, okay, this should have been done earlier. But listen, you ride with your guy, and I applaud John Cohen for being loyal to a decision that he made until you made it something where we can't look past this anymore.
Yeah.
This is the last one. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna let you guys continue after this. But Stephen Neely says, I would love to see Deuce get the nod again. Mercer, after 2 weeks of preparation, let the future shine. I think absolutely you do. And you've said this already, Mike. You do what you need to do to preserve the eligibility of Ashton Daniels. If he wants to play another year of collegiate football, whether that's Auburn or somewhere else, you allow him that opportunity to do that. And you go out there and you let Deuce Knight be the quarterback versus Mercer, because you gain nothing by having an additional week of Ashton Daniels at quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, I'm going to bounce up out of here, guys. I'm going to let y'all handle the rest of this. Still plenty of conversation left to be had. Appreciate everybody who's jumped in tonight. Caesar, appreciate you jumping in. I'll let y'all next time. War Eagle, Mike, and C-Dub got it from here.
Yeah, listen, we're going to get through these super chats. Caesar, Ike Jones jumping out, myself and C-Dub bringing it home here on a Wednesday night, the midweek report. I want to thank our Twitter fam for joining us, along with the YouTube and the Facebook family. Royce Butler, member for 48 months, says, I think Day at Ohio State was the play caller until this year. They won the Natty last year. Again, lots of discourse, Caesar, around can your head coach be a primary play caller on either side of the ball?
I think he can be, but it's just not sustainable. So at some point you have to give it up.
Yeah. NH3425 with the $4.99 super chat. If it's not Durkin, is there heavy pressure to retain him as DC, assuming the head coach is an offensive head coach? I don't know if there's heavy pressure, but certainly you want him to get a look. The question that I have that has been posed all week on this show, we talked about it. We're going to talk about it tomorrow morning. Is if he wants the job and you pass him over for it, how likely is he going to be to stay under the guy who he got passed over for? I don't have the answer to that question, but I think certainly that's a relevant aspect to this. What do you think, Caesar?
It's tricky, Mike, because again, it's almost like the caddy situation in a way. Because if you're beloved by the players and members of the fan base, you need a blank slate when a new coach comes in. Like everyone needs a blank slate to make an impression on these kids. And when there's someone who already has a head start on you, but they're not the head guy, and you two may or may not see eye to eye on things, it can get tricky, right?
Yeah.
And so for the head coach, you want to make sure when he comes in as the new guy that there's a blank slate across that coaching staff, one voice, one mind, one band, one sound, right? And so as much as I would like for Durkin to be retained, you have to think about the chemistry on the staff because listen, your staff is everything, Mike. Hiring the right people is everything. Brian Kelly has learned that lesson the hard way at LSU because he made some bad hires that didn't pan out. And I'm not saying Durkin is a bad hire because of his coaching acumen, but how he gels with a new coach here versus the kids who are already bought into Durkin is tricky. And so again, I hope it works out. I would love for Durkin to be retained, especially if it's someone that he may have worked with in the past. That will be great. But yeah, I think it's tricky if you don't hire him, but ask him to stay on.
Yeah, agreed. Exclusive TV says offense progression equals you get your 4 years. Yep, that's it. That's the bottom line. If you get progress on offense, you get 4 years if you're freeze. Antonio Smith with the $10 super chat says every coach from Dye to Gus has won an SEC title and played for a national championship. Only ones that didn't was Terry Bowden. Auburn was on probation. I think he's talking about 1993. Tuberville didn't get a chance. He went undefeated in 2004. And the last two coaches, Brian Harsin and now Hugh Freeze. So they're again, it's what makes Joel Klatt's whole diatribe so ridiculous. This is a place where you can win championships because we've seen it. They've done it. They've done it wire to wire. Yeah.
And again, what makes a program, because sometimes people judge it based on wins and losses in as of late. If that's your argument, you got it, Joe. You got it. But Auburn is a top program, and it is one of the better jobs in the country, regardless of what he may think.
Absolutely. Rigger Spoon, a prolific War Report commenter. Don't forget AU beat #1 Florida in 2001 in that 7-5 year. They sure did. That was my freshman year. Your sophomore year, Damon Duval,
crazy
40. I think like a 40
went crazy
5-yarder into the wind. That was insane.
Stadium went crazy.
They tore down the goalpost that day, Caesar. It was a great day in Jordan-Hare. They've only torn down the goalpost a few times since, but that was one of those moments. Steve Spurrier's #1 Florida Gators going down.
When was the last time they did it?
I know we did it after the kick six.
Okay. That hasn't been the last time
then. Man.
Was it?
Chat, help me out. When was the last time we tore down the goalposts?
It may have been, it had to be the kick six then.
I'm pretty sure maybe sometime in 2010.
Kick six was after 2010.
Yeah. Look out for the comments here, Caesar, and let me know if anybody sees when we tore down them goalposts last. Vandy has done more with less in fewer years. Again, development happening up in Nashville. That's a big knock on this Auburn program here. You're getting high-level talent in, but expecting these kids to just perform because they're talented and not giving them proper development is criminal. Right. Like Cam Coleman is a great receiver. He still needs development here at the college level. I watched him never drop a pass at Central in high school, and suddenly he gets here and he's dropping passes. That's about process. That's not about talent. It's about process here.
Right.
I appreciate the comment there. Mr. Gibson says Durkin for head coach until proven otherwise. He'll certainly have his opportunity to audition for the job the next 3 games. Exclusive TV says, to add to my first super, I understand defensive players love playing for Durkin, but if he's not head coach or DC, I believe they're good enough to play for any DC because the talent is there. Those guys are dogs. Yeah, but you got to keep them. You got to get them to stay. And that's the thing.
Right.
If you get rid of their coach, you might lose the talent. And I think Durkin is your best chance to retain all these dogs that you brought in. One of the things I love about the defense, Caesar, is that we're talking about names on defense in season that we weren't talking about in the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
Got big hitters, guys like Sylvester Smith, who are just everywhere where a play is being made.
Right.
And it's amazing, right? Like when you're developing on that side, stars emerge that you didn't hear about, unexpected stars. Where is that on offense right now? Who are the unexpected stars that are arising out of this offense?
I'm just one expected stars to just
right.
Yeah, let's start with that first.
Man, no development, man, means no expectation of stars arising. Rigger Spoon says, I don't remember anyone bashing UGA for firing Rick for expecting championships when it took 40 years and 4 coaches. We have played or had a championship level team every decade for those 40 years. These are absolute facts.
Good
now,
comment,
yeah, great comment. There were some people who criticized the Rick fire, because he was a good coach, but also he got a lot of time to do the job as well. So it was tenable to move on from him because how long was he the head coach there? Like 9-10 years?
Close. I have to look it up. But you're right. But here's the thing, Mike. Richter was recruiting at a high level as well. That's something that has to be stated. Georgia was a very fertile recruiting ground, and he cleaned up the state of Georgia.
Was he there
with the talent that he had? How long was he there?
I mean, if I'm looking at this right, he was there since from 2001 to 2015.
Wow,
15 years. Yeah. So you moved on, like, yeah, you had 15 years.
Yeah, I mean, it might have been time. It might have been time, but that's crazy. Wow, he was there a long time. I didn't think he was there that long.
I didn't think he was there that long. Yeah.
But again, you had the talent, and what I don't think helped Rick's case is that Florida had a revolving door of coaches during that time period who were getting to the SEC championship. Urban Meyer, who got to the national championship and won it, that wasn't helping his case either. So I think if you're Georgia, you're trying to get over the hump, and this guy's not doing it. You got the talent, you moved on, and it worked out for Georgia.
They went 13-1 in 2002, but again, it was the BCS, so they ended up in the Sugar Bowl. In today's college football era, they might have been national champions in that year.
Yeah.
They went 11-3 in 2003, 10-2 in 2004. 10-3 in 2005, 11-2 in 2007. These would have all been playoff appearances.
Right.
In 2012, they went 12-2. Again, playoffs. I don't know, man. 10-4 in 2011. They might have been in the playoffs with 10 wins. In today's college football era,
they were a perennial top 10 team under Rick.
Yeah.
They were perennial top 10 before. They just couldn't get over the hump. They couldn't win the big one.
Yeah. Rigger Spoon, we appreciate that comment. Let's see here. Exclusive TV says rank the best recent AU defenses 2017, 2019, 2025.
2017 is last.
Yeah, definitely. I'm giving this defense the edge over 2019. These guys are tearing it up. No more than 24 points to any opponent this year.
I may have to give you that.
Yeah, this one outranks 2019 in my book. I like Derrick Brown and Marlon Davidson. Those guys were great, but overall, like I said, this defense I think takes the cake for me.
If Bo Nix was a freshman with Gus Malzahn with this defense this year, what's Auburn's record?
Ooh, with Bo? Auburn's
freshman Bo with Malzahn, same offense this year with this defense. What's Auburn's record?
Gus though, man. So he's going to Gus a couple games, but I think they're maybe at worst a 2-loss team, right? Like, I mean, if you go back to 2019,
that's where I'm going. I'm going by. I think they lose 2.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't give up a ton of points. Like
Miller says 9-3.
9-3.
Yeah.
They gave up 21 points to Oregon in 2019, 20 points to Texas A&M, 23 points to Mississippi State, 20 points to LSU.
I don't know, Mike. They right there too.
14-0, but they gave up 45 points to Alabama in the Iron Bowl. So that would let's finish out the season, and then they lost.
We'll pick this conversation back up at the end of the season.
Yeah, they lost the bowl game 31-24 to Minnesota. So at the end of the season, we'll see who takes the cake. But right now, I like this Auburn defense. Dwayne says just 20 points a game, 7-2 or 6-3. It's sad. It is sad. Chris says DJ head coach to go along with a good OC. This is a popular sentiment.
I am curious to see, because I'm gonna be honest. I think he likes Derrick Nicks because they work together, so they know each other. If Derrick Nicks, as much as we talk about DJ Durkin auditioning, this is a huge audition for Derrick Nicks. I'm curious to see what he has.
I am as well too. Our guy NH3425. You're John Cohen. You're making the call to offer the head coach job for football. Who are you calling and why? I'm calling Dillingham. Kenny Dillingham. He was the offensive coordinator in 2019 under Gus, although I don't think he was called. He wasn't the primary play caller, I think, under Gus in 2019. That offense stunk. At times, it definitely stunk. And although Auburn won the Iron Bowl, that was really about 2 pick sixes, right? Like, we know that.
Yeah, I mean, Malzahn had him in detention. He was just there coaching up Bo.
I like Dilly, man. Like, after they got bounced from the playoffs, he got in front of the camera and he was like, please give me money if you want us to repeat. Like, we can't do this without money and it's not sustainable. And I love that because it's so real. He said, look, we outperformed our roster in winning the Big 12 and taking Texas to overtime in the playoffs. But if you want to repeat, we need resources to do that. I think he has his, thumb on the pulse of what you need in college football today. Every time he gets in front of the microphone, I'm impressed with that guy. I don't know if he would be a good fit here, but
I'm not sure. Well, I don't know, Mike. I really don't know. But I don't know if he's a good fit, to be honest with you. I don't know if he's a good fit. But to your point, he gets it. I was reading something on him, and he was talking about how, as a head coach, he has learned to step away from play calling and how out of touch he can be as the head coach trying to call plays. I think he told a story where it was a 4th and 1, and he was trying to run Scatterboo. And he was like, what do y'all guys think about running it? And he's over the headset, and the offensive assistant, no one said anything. And he was like, all right. And I think they ended up scoring a touchdown or making a big play on that. And he was like, I need to stay out of it. Yeah. And to me, to have that type of awareness at his age, I think that's what's impressive, Mike. At his age, he's figured this out. So to me, I think he's a coach that's kind of wise beyond his years. I'm curious to see what happens if he actually gets a serious look.
Wesley Hilson, member for 56 months, guys. Sign up for those Patreon memberships. We appreciate that. He said, if only we had touchdown Jesus. Oh, my goodness. Auburn Jesus, any Jesus, right? Matty Free said we needed Jesus. I'll take touchdown Jesus. NH3425 says, if it's not Durkin, is there heavy pressure to retain him? Oh, wait, this might have been a repeat here. I think there's a repeat there. Al Roper says Durkin is head coach and Mac Leftwich as OC is my wish. Interesting.
That's a name I haven't heard before. You know who Mac Leftwich?
Mac Leftwich. I'm gonna do.
It's over to the Googles.
Yeah,
he's the offensive coordinator for the Texas Red Raiders.
Oh,
yeah, they've been lighting people up this year. Yeah, they've been
Big 12. Big 12.
But that's not fair. Kenny Dillingham coaches in the Big 12. So
and they lost to Texas. NH3425, if our offense comes out rolling on all cylinders these next 3 games, I'm going to be so mad and happy at the same time. Pruitt is at Jack State under Charles Kelly. Interesting.
Yeah. I guess. I don't know. I don't know if I'll be happy if I'm gonna be excited for those kids if the offense. I mean, I get it. I get what he's saying because he was the problem, but he's been removed. Especially if Auburn explodes and just goes off.
Yeah. Harold Greer with the $20 super chat. I'm all for patience, but when the offense starts out average and drops to absolutely dismal with what looks like zero prep or film review, I just want to see a semi-competent offense over the next few games. Can't stress enough. John Cohen saying if we had even an average offense, I wouldn't be standing in front of you today. So can they be average,
Mike? And that's to me that said that was so much in that statement. Because what that tells me is that Durkin does not have to win all of his games to give John Cohen something to think about. If that defense can stay elite and the offense raises its floor to where it actually looks like a decent offense, you got to consider DJ Durkin for head coach because at a minimum, you're competitive. You're a competitive team. You're a playoff team potentially if you have an average offense.
Well, you're already competitive, right? Like your floor just can't be no touchdowns in a game. And that's what was concerning after Arkansas. You scored one offensive touchdown versus one of the worst defenses in all of the FBS and in the SEC. And then somehow you won up to that versus Kentucky and score only 3 points. Give me a break. I think they had one red zone trip versus Kentucky, which is absolutely awful. And that was set up by interception return by the defense.
I don't know if they got in the red zone, Mike.
The defense got them down there, and that was it.
Were they in the red zone?
Yeah, after the interception, they kicked the field goal in the red zone, and then that was it. Okay. They had one red zone trip there. I had the stats broadcast up, so I saw it.
Okay, all right. So they did
1-1 in the red zone. It's just terrible. So you've got to do better than that, I think, here. Appreciate this super chat, Harold. Let's see here. 9-time champion said odds that Durkin would be DC in 2026 with a new head coach. I don't know, man. I don't like that. I don't think that scenario is feasible. And again, if you're just joining the live stream, we've talked about this all week. If you want the job and you get passed over for the job, I don't know how likely he is to stay under the guy he got passed over for. Yeah, because everybody wants to hire Durkin. Ohio State wanted him this offseason, and we broke the bank to keep him here on the Plains. I don't see it happening if he doesn't get the job.
Again, in any other scenario, if he goes elsewhere, he's the new guy in the coaching staff. Here, he's the more experienced guy on this coaching staff, which means he has a lot more influence with these kids than the new head coach would.
Yeah, and they may not want that either. So it's got to be a good fit. I don't know if this situation is a good fit for a new head coach with a DC that's so popular that it gets passed over for the job. The difference between this and the Cadillac situation was kind of understood that that Caddy was a long shot to get the job with no head coaching experience at all. And he was the hometown hero, and it was a little bit of a different situation for Cadillac there, for him to stay under Hugh Freeze. But you saw what happened, right? He was very vocal about how he felt things should be done. And the first chance they got to get him out of here, they ousted him. So, I don't like this scenario. Our guy, Jamie Lester, became a member. We appreciate that, guys. Smash that join button. We appreciate our Green Name Gang. NH3425 says, from freeze warning to Durkin storm, War Damn Eagle. Durkin Storm. Okay, it's got a little bit of ring to it. Dwayne says 20 points a game, 7-2, 6-3. Worst, sad. Again, it's man. I don't know how we get here. Plant the seed, Mike. Durkin, Pruitt, Monken.
So Pruitt as a defensive coordinator, he can recruit.
Yeah, he can definitely recruit
good defenses. I'm not mad at that.
Yeah,
I'm not mad. Where is Monken coaching now?
I'm not sure. Is Monken at Georgia? I thought he was at
Georgia. No. He went to the NFL after Georgia. That's how Georgia ended up with Bobo again.
Okay. NH 3425 with the 199 super chat. We hold Bama under 20. I think we win. if you hold Bama under 20, you're going to have a chance to win. But you've done that a ton of times this year. This is absolutely insane that we're here, with Auburn. Average offense, you're one loss, you're maybe undefeated. What can they do over these next few games? I think they have a good chance to limit Bama the same way they've limited everybody this year. That 2019 defense, they held everybody under 25, 26 points, and then they got to Bama and they gave up 45. So we'll see. They're kind of rolling right now. It's a little scary, but it is on the Plains, so there's always a chance when that game is on the Plains. Dustin Pace says, Eric Morris for OC, high scoring and great QBs. QB development has been the thing. Caesar, when Auburn has been able to find a quarterback, they've been in the conversation for championships. Jason Campbell, 2004, right? Like they went 11-2 with Brandon Cox at quarterback. Chris Todd, first year under Gus, he broke the record for touchdown passes in a season. Then Cam Newton comes, Heisman, undefeated championship. Nick Marshall, 2013. Jarrett Stidham, 2017. I don't know, man. Like, again, solid quarterback play. It's sad that Auburn has struggled to find consistent quarterback play year over year. The Jeremy Johnson flops, after Nick Marshall and these droughts of getting solid quarterback play is actually very impressive for a program that recruits so well.
I think one of the more underrated jobs that we saw was what Brian Harsin did with Bo in year one. We saw Bo take a step forward in his development under Brian Harsin. Now, Brian Harsin allowed Bo to walk right on out the door after he did that job of developing him. But that was the most development I think we've seen at Auburn in a while, Mike. And I think for a lot of these coaches, they're system coaches, meaning they're looking for players who can fit into their system as opposed to the other way around. And to me, coaches who knows how to make their system fit their players are the ones who tends to get the most out of those guys. And so I'm looking for a coach who can actually do that as opposed to trying to find players to fit a system that may actually be outdated.
Yeah. Indeed. Appreciate the super chat, Dustin, a longtime member and super chatter. Exclusive TV says, just want us fans to be able to still talk about football all the way to January when we're in the championship conversation. Certainly a bowl game would be nice here. 2 straight years missing a bowl game would just be brutal. I know it's likely going to be the Birmingham Bowl or the Music City Bowl, but I want Auburn to play extra football this year. So you got it. You're going to get Mercer, but you got to beat Vanderbilt or Alabama to get to that bowl game now where Hugh Freeze has left this program. And I think they do it. We're going to talk about our predictions here right after we finish up this last chat. Our guy, Chris, with the $4.99 super chat. I think John Cohen really looking at DJ. I seen John Cohen at practice with watching the practice for the head coaching job, right? Like, yes, he was at practice. He's a lot of the practices. He is around these programs, man. Wherever Auburn sports is happening, John Cohen is. He is a busy guy. Everywhere he was on for basketball, man. I mean, he was at every single basketball site.
I like that. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, John Cohen is following these programs.
That's pretty. That doesn't surprise me, given that John Cohen is a former coach. So he's used to being
around the athletes.
Yeah. You know what I mean? That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. So I look, man, he said Monday that he was going to spend every waking moment trying to get this fixed. And so not a shock to see him out there. I think that's him delivering on his promise to spend every waking moment getting this fixed. You guys had a lot to say. We're done with the super chats here. We're going to close the show out. But, Caesar, it's prediction time. Auburn takes on Vanderbilt this Saturday in Nashville. And I'm going to tell you this. Auburn's going to win this football game. Auburn's going to win this football game Saturday. And I don't think that's just going out on a limb to say that. From a statistical standpoint, I think we can expect this defense to do what they've done all year. Now, before you joined the live stream, we talked about what they did to Vanderbilt last year. They only gave up 17 points in this game. They limited them to 227 yards of offense last year. That's it. 227 yards of offense. 4 of 16 on third downs. And they only gave up 17 points. They didn't. Now, Vanderbilt didn't turn the ball over. Auburn had 1 turnover. But that game was not about how great Vanderbilt was. It was about how bad Auburn was on offense. So, Vanderbilt won the game because Diego Pavia made the plays that Vanderbilt needed when they needed them. He had 2 touchdown passes, but only 143 yards passing on 9 of 22 passing. He averaged 2.2 yards per rush in that game. Auburn has the defense to limit him in this one. I don't care if it's out on the plains or in their house or at Jerry World in Dallas. This defense can absolutely stop Vanderbilt's offense. They can. And they ran up 40 on Bama last year in a win. Remember, this was a Vandy team that took out every team in the state of Alabama last year. Auburn's going to win this football game on Saturday. These kids want it. I have talked now to upwards of 30 players since Hugh Freeze has been fired. These guys are fired up, man. They want this bad. And DJ Durkin this week has done a good job getting in here with the players and making sure that they understand we got work to do. This season's not over. His message to the team has, you can still leave your mark in Auburn history these next 3 weeks. 2 top 15 matchups, 1 on the road. You beat Vanderbilt, you beat Alabama. People will remember that about this season. So I'm picking Auburn to win this game. I like Auburn 28-17. I think the offense gets going. I think Alex McPherson kicks some field goals. I think they get to 28 any way they get there. Special teams, touchdowns, defense, pick six. It may look wacky and wonky, but I think that they get there, and I think that he is organized and he's going to make sure Derrick Nicks has a good plan. Those guys are going to be on the same page, and I think the unification of the voices on offense makes a difference in the score. What say you, my friend? Who wins and why?
I will never get upset over an Auburn prediction. In fact, if Auburn does exactly that, I will get a shirt made that says "Give Durkin the job." Actually, I'm gonna give it a shirt get a shirt made called Dirty Dirk.
Yeah. We'll put it in the War Report store.
Yeah, Dirty Dirk, because I'm all about Dirty Dirk at that point. I'm team Dirty Dirk. It's short week. If this is over the bye week, I probably would pick Auburn, but I'm going to go 2021 Vandy in this. Auburn scores. They actually score in this game. They move the ball. I think Vandy somehow, some way figures it out at the end, but we'll be impressed by what we saw with DJ Durkin in 6 days preparing this team.
Yeah, look, I mean, that's not a bad pick. And, if you're following the trend of Auburn on offense, it may seem unreasonable to expect them to score a bunch of points in this one. But I will take everyone back to Baylor. I called that game 38-21. Auburn won it 38-24. Everyone said, Mike, there's 38 points. They hadn't scored 38 points versus a P4 opponent and blah, blah, blah. I said, no. This team is built different. And, Baylor sucked. Like you had people on the Baylor side saying Baylor's going to do all this stuff that they had no chance of doing. But you just follow the statistics on this one. I'm telling you, there is precedent for Auburn to score in the high 20s and get the win here versus a team like Vanderbilt. Now, Vanderbilt is well coached. Diego Pavia is a hell of a player. I've come to admire his tenacity and his drive and how he plays the game. But Auburn beat themselves last year. They beat themselves
this year. The beating continued this year.
But versus Vanderbilt, they beat themselves last year.
Yeah.
And this year, I think that you've got more playmakers, and I'm excited to see what a Derrick Nicks offense potentially looks like here. He coached under one of the best offensive minds in college football. I can't believe that he can't cook up something to beat Vanderbilt. Come on, man. This guy worked with Lane Kiffin for years and years, and we know Lane Kiffin is a great offensive mind. You're telling me Derrick Nicks learned nothing from him? No way. So, going back to John Cohen's statement about if we even had an average offense, we heard the stories, man, of a coach who did things haphazardly throughout the week, and that haphazardness leaked into the results on Saturday. You don't want us to talk about golf? Go score some touchdowns. You don't want us to talk about golf? Have an average SEC offense. You don't want us to talk about golf? Don't score no touchdowns versus Kentucky. You don't want us to talk about golf? Don't score one touchdown versus Arkansas.
How about not go golfing?
Right.
How about coach? How about coach your team?
According to Dalton, you usually just go out to the golf course and watch guys golf with no clubs. So how about you go to a team meeting?
Yeah,
I think this is the week that DJ Durkin gives Auburn fans something else to talk about, other than the controversy that this coach left.
Yeah.
I respect Hugh Freeze as a person. He was very gracious with the War Report in giving us his time. He sat down, he did interviews, we communicated. But this what happened, this wasn't it. This wasn't what the vision of Auburn football was when John Cohen got in front of the microphone 2 years ago and announced him as head coach. Right. This was not the guru that we were promised for whatever reason.
Right.
I wish him good health. I wish him success in his future. But I think Auburn fans are ready to move on, and DJ Durkin has a chance to move the conversation forward on Saturday. We got a couple more super chats before we get out of here. Caesar, Dustin Pace comes back and said, "Whisper into Cohen's ear, Mike, for me. Eric Morris has developed Mahomes, Cam Ward, John Mateer, and Mestamaker, top scoring offense in the country." Eric Morris. The name keeps coming up. Dustin Pace also comes back and says, "We appreciate all the hard work, Mike and C-Dub. We are working hard for you guys here." That's it for another great edition of the Midweek Report. We appreciate you guys for jumping in with us. Before we get out of here, I want to thank our title sponsor, The Rage Room. If you're in the Opelika or the Birmingham area, they got 2 convenient locations for you. If this offense made you so mad that you absolutely just had to go out and break something, The Rage Room is a great constructive way to do that. You can bust up a windshield, a baby car seat, or you can just splash some paint around. I promise you guys, this is a lot of fun. When you get to the counter, make sure that you tell them the War Report sent you. They'll take care of you. Sign up as a
splashing paint doesn't really sound like he gets the job done, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, it's fun. I promise.
Okay.
Sign up as a patron. $5.99 a month will get you there. These are like micro sponsorships of our channel. We appreciate everybody who signs up for a patron membership. Ike is on the road covering from Nashville live. You can help keep him on the road by signing up for a membership. Your financial support helps keep the work that we're doing here going. Thank you to everybody who gifted a membership on today's live cast. I want to thank our friends at the Rogue Shop. Visit rogueshop.com. Use code REPORT to get 15% off your Rogue Shop order. Pain, sleep, stress, anxiety, whatever ails you in life, the Rogue Shop has something that has you covered. If you've got some traditional ailments that could require some non-traditional remedies, the Rogue Shop could be the place for you. Visit them today again and use code REPORT to make sure you get that discount. Guys, sign up on podcast, subscribe to the audio. We are burning up the podcast charts right now, thanks to you guys, the Auburn Express, Uptempo, College Loop, Just a Sec, and the War Report Gaming channel. Lots of great audio only content. Some things we do only on audio just for you guys. So please subscribe, turn on automatic downloads, and make sure you leave us a review. We appreciate your support over there. Last but certainly not least, visit thewarreport.com to get your War Report merch today. If Durkin gets the job, we're going to put some Durkin merch in there. I promise you it will be there. Ike is going to cook it up. But you can also find our written work at thewarreport.com. Our senior writer, Logan Fowler, dropping lots of great nuggets for you guys every single day. So we are not just YouTube and podcast. We are also writing for you guys. Visit thewarreport.com today and help us out over there. Caesar, it's been an eventful week. We need you guys to help us keep the party going. Share this video on social media at The War Report. Hashtag get your weight up. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on social media at The War Report on X and Instagram, TW Report on TikTok. We're signing off, guys. We'll see you tomorrow morning on the Auburn Express and Saturday on game day. War Eagle.